I know, back again. Pretty strange, isn't it? Anyway, now this is a movie that I've seen a while back, and not many people will have heard of this film, and it's called Sorority Row. Now this movie has obviously not been well recognised because of tons of other movies that have come out in the autumn period. Surrogates is a better example of one of them. Not going to do a review for that, but that's a review. That's a video. Can't speak today. That's another video. Any case, Sorority Row. So let's get straight into the plot of this movie. Now I don't know any of these actresses or the director who did this, so bear with me. So the plot of this movie, it starts out at a typical teenage party, and you know, it's pretty much just teenagers being teenagers, really, having fun, drinking, boozing. You know, then a group of female girls known as sisters, as they refer to themselves, sisterhood. One of their own has their boyfriend. Not very pleasant to them. I know, let's play a trick on him. So it's one of them decides that the girlfriend decides to play dead. Unbeknown to this, the boyfriend overreacts. They take us, for some strange reason, they take her to an unknown location, and then he decides to kill her, unaware that she really wasn't dead at that point, but now she is. And then 8 months later, that secret of how they decided to ended in a murder that haunts them for the rest of their lives. And then afterwards, it turns into like a typical horror thriller, pretty similar to Final Destination, where some mysterious force kills them off one by one in sort of revenge for what they did. So that's the basic plot of the movie. I know that is a really bad plot synopsis. I can't really speak properly today. But that aside, the movie itself. Now, what did I think of it? Well, pretty impressive, I have to say. I actually ended up loving this movie, weirdly enough. I've not seen a good horror movie in ages. In fact, it's rare that I go to cinema to see horror movies, simply because they're horrors. But I don't mind having the shit scared out of me every once in a while. I mean, there was another movie that was more scarier than this called Paranormal Activity, which is a later review I'll be doing. But, you know, even though that did really scare the shit out of me more than this I found a bit better to get into. Anyway, enough blabber. Straight to the acting. Now, I don't know, like I said at the start of the review, I don't know any of these actresses at all. And I have to say they all did a phenomenal job. I know one of them was in Step Up 2, The Streets. I haven't seen any of those movies. Might check them out, you never know. But, like I say, she was in it pretty good. All the female cast, I thought, just did a terrific job of portraying sisterhood. And particularly, but I've noticed that it was a bit stereotypical. And they certainly pulled that off very well, I will tell you. Well, like I say, one of them proved to be like the cool girl, one was a geek, one was, you know, one of them was a bit of a nerd, so to speak. You know, you could tell it was all stereotypical sisters or a group of female girls. But, so I can't say much on the acting, but the acting was pretty impressive, I have to say. I was involved in the character situations, and I did want the characters who survived at the end to survive, you know. So, that's acting out of the way. You know, like I said, I'm sorry I can't say much on the acting, but that's, you know, obviously I don't know many of these actresses at all, or the director. Pros and cons. Pros? Let's see. Now, the thriller aspect of Sorority Row, of course, particularly like in the second 2/3 of the film, it really kicks into high gear. It gets itself into a really thriller aspect mode. It's like a race against time for your own survival. It's like every person for themselves. You know, it was done incredibly, it handled very well. And let's just say that there were a couple of surprises for me there, as I did end up jumping quite a couple of times. Although the person next to me was even worse. So much of an embarrassment. But anyways, so I was pretty impressed with the little scares that they did here and there. Some of the kills in the movie are extremely inventive. I mean, there was one sequence where, let's just say a girl's drinking a bottle of some whiskey or wine, whatever it is, and let's just say the whiskey isn't what ends up in the bottle. I'm probably terrible at these hints, but I like to give them to be a bit mysterious. So, that's that. Must admit I would be put off from drinking wine, but I don't like it anyway. Ugh, horrible. Anyway, but so I say the kills in the movie are extremely inventive. As the film went on, it became more suspenseful, more of a suspense thriller, and by the end of it I was feeling, you know, I wasn't ripped off. So, of course, we have to get into now what would be the cons. And really there wasn't that much I didn't like about this film. If I had to say one thing that I didn't like about the movie, it would be that it took a little bit too long to get going. I kind of felt that in the party sequence, you know, the main party sequence, the whole setup sequence for the film, as it progressed onwards, I was kind of thinking, right, okay, right, I've seen enough of the party, girls having fun, not supposed to be, but having some sexual fun, whatever. You know, can kind of move this along a little bit and get into the story. But that's nitpicking. And admittedly, another thing that was a bit off-putting is that some of the times the kills caught me off guard. I was in, but that's also a positive as well, because like I say, I was lured into a false sense of security, thinking that, oh, they're going to come out alive. Boom, boom, boom. That's a reference to a kill in the movie, in case you're wondering. That was so random. Anyway, but those are the only things I really didn't like about it. I know this review is a lot shorter than my other ones, but there isn't really much I can think of to say on this film. But I wanted to do a review of it, despite how terrible this review might be. But, you know, at the end of the day, I love Sorority Row. I mean, it was a very good suspense thriller. It was very well made, very well produced, directed. Script was, I thought, was pretty good, which is another pro I forgot to mention. And, you know, it was pretty well acted. So, overall, I'm going to give Sorority Row a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a fantastic movie. I loved pretty much every minute of it. And when it gets to the bargain bucket, I am certainly going to get this on DVD. And I'm surprised not many people have done a review for this. And let's just say the girls are pretty nice looking as well. I know I would have mentioned that at the start of my review, but I completely forgot. Silly me. Anyways, but that's my review of Sorority Row, and I really do hope that if you get a chance to see this movie, maybe on DVD, I would suggest you see it. It's a good way to spend time in the movies, or a good way to have another night in. So until next time, you two, the movie buff, Michael Bowers, of course, signing out.